They're in the gate. And they're off. Nesso's last hurrah is out very quickly for the early lead. EJ Won the Cup has speed. Island Cruiser tugging in the early stages. And here's Money Makes Money in the red, trying to get through a very, very small hole along the rail. And now into second, but having to steady. Another few behind them to El Rey Rey racing inside El Medici. Those two followed by Uncharted and Sketchy, who are side by side past the half-mile pole. Good at being bad second to last, and Gazon at the back of the field. Around the turn, it's Nesso's last hurrah leading the way. EJ Won the Cup clearly into second. Money Makes Money at the rail in third, followed by Island Cruiser, 3 off the pace in fourth. Another 2 back to El Rey Rey, who has 5 lengths to make up at the quarter pole. Then Sketchy and Uncharted. Top of the stretch, Nesso's last hurrah clinging to the lead. In fact, strong with a 3-length advantage. Money Makes Money along the inside. EJ Won the Cup and Island Cruiser lining up to try and complete the exacta behind Nesso's last hurrah. Dominant in victory. Scores by more than 3. Second to Money Makes Money. Then Island Cruiser, EJ Won the Cup, and it's a photo for 5th among Uncharted, Sketchy, and El Rey Rey was just behind them. Thank you, racing fans, for continuously choosing Yamava Resort and Casino at San Manuel as your destination for gaming excitement. As the closest resort and casino to Santa Anita Park. In the gate. And they're off. Quick start for Lunar Impact. Tickle My Fancy is up close, and Boss Bride splits them and is up to take the lead. So it's Boss Bride in front. Lunar Impact now second. Tickle My Fancy. Cast Member is coming through to take third. They're followed by Real Fire, 6 lengths off the lead. Miss Lizzie is next. Araniti is second to last. And Diamonds Dancing is at the back of the field. Past the half-mile pole, and it's Lunar Impact and Boss Bride dueling for the lead. Another 3 lengths back to Tickle My Fancy, and Cast Member is down at the rail in fourth. Real Fire covers up Miss Lizzie, who's 5 lengths off them. Then at the back of the field, Araniti and Diamonds Dancing. They have a 1/4 mile to run. Boss Bride and Lunar Impact. Cast Member angles off the rail to come after them now. And then comes Tickle My Fancy. Miss Lizzie is down at the rail. Lunar Impact spurts clear by 3. Miss Lizzie on the inside of a lineup of 5. Real Fire finishing strongly in the center of the course. But Lunar Impact is long gone. Lunar Impact wins stylishly. Miss Lizzie is in a very close photo for second. It's either her or Real Fire. Then Tickle My Fancy and a battle between Cast Member and Araniti. In the gate. And they're off in the San Vicente, and Pilot Commander gets the first call. Slider is flying through on the inside. These two will duel through the opening furlong, and Muth gets a perfect spot in third. Formidable Man is 4 off the pace in fourth. Voltage on the extreme outside, and Moonlit Sonata has 7 to make up on Slider, who will go past the 5/8 pole with the lead. It's Slider by a half length to Pilot Commander, Muth in the 3-path, Formidable Man, and Voltage, 5 across the track, covered by 3 lengths. Another 3 to Moonlit Sonata. Heading toward the 3/8 pole, and it's Slider, still in front by about a neck. Pilot Commander, Muth cruising after them now, 3 wide with his move. Another 3 back to Voltage, Moonlit Sonata, and Formidable Man. Midway on the far turn, Pilot Commander and Muth. Muth on the outside and Pilot Commander head and head turning for home. 2 back to Slider in third, 3/16 of a mile to go. Muth and Pilot Commander, friends in the morning, foes in the afternoon, and Muth is let loose now. And here comes Muth through the stretch. outclassing them in the San Vicente. It will be Muth and Juan Hernandez to win it by 3 emphatic lengths. Pilot, Commander, Slider, and Voltage. The Golden Hour Double kicks off in 25 minutes. In the gate. And they're off. Quick start for Mark's Hip. Single Track Mind is up in the leading group. And now here's Irish Prophet moving alongside the pacemaker as Tesoro sprints up now. And so it's Tesoro and Mark's Hip by the stands the first time. Irish Prophet and Reckless Spirit are side by side. And just behind them comes Legislator down at the rail. Hula Candy and One of These Days settles just behind that pair. Single Track Mind is next, racing side by side with Lahaina Flavor. Outside of them, it's Spagliato, and at the rail comes Maltese Falcon in his red silks. Around the clubhouse turn, Mark's Hip, 2-length lead. Tesoro is in second, and Irish Prophet has settled down at the rail in third. It's 2 more back to Reckless Spirit, followed by Legislator in fifth, 6 lengths off the pace. Another couple back to Hula Candy, who's racing next. Then Hula Candy followed at the rail by Lahaina Flavor. Lahaina Flavor about 8 or 9 lengths off the lead. Maltese Falcon is starting to pass some rivals, coming through a very narrow opening. He's just inside Legislator as they move into the far turn, where the lead belongs to Mark's Hip, still by a length and a half to Tesoro in second. Irish Prophet has had a good trip in third. They are followed by Reckless Spirit. Maltese Falcon is next. Legislator racing in between horses with a quarter of a mile to go. And on the far outside, trying to make a late bid is Hula Candy. It's wide open. Maltese Falcon with this sustained bid. And what a ride from Rosario to take the lead. On the outside, Irish Prophet is coming after him. Irish Prophet or Maltese Falcon. Maltese Falcon on the outside, Irish Prophet. Irish Prophet. Another for Juan Hernandez. He also put on a great ride. He and Joel Rosario won 2. Maltese Falcon finished up in second. And third went to Hula Candy, close for fourth and fifth.
Hi, everybody, and a very happy and pleasant Sunday morning to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining us on the spectacular day here at the Great Race Place. We've got a good 9-race card for you. And by the way, what about the Coast to Coast Pick 5? That links races both from Gulfstream Park and Santa Anita. Nobody hit it yesterday. That means the carryover is $186,000. Expectations are the pool size in that Coast to Coast Pick 5 will be close to $1 million. My name's Tom Quigley, your seminar host for the next 37 minutes or so. And our seminar guest today, he has an affinity for racing. Let's call it a love for racing. It's going to resonate through your TV screen or your computer screen if you're watching over the next 40 minutes or so. His name, Jeffrey Sangara. Jeffrey, welcome to the seminar. Happy Sunday.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's a real privilege and an honor to be here.
It's an honor to have you because you've been in the game for a long time as an owner. You've got 2 horses running today. You also had 2 horses that competed in the Breeders' Cup that finished second. But before we get to those video clips, how did you fall in love with this great sport of ours? Did you discover it on your own? Did your parents bring you? Did your high school buddies bring you? How did you get involved in the game originally?
Well, it's all my father. So he was really the first one in our community to really get to know Santa Anita. And so when he came back to Vancouver, it kind of spread. And from there, being born into that family and born into that thick ragu sauce for blood of racing that flows through us, it was a natural fit. So it was all because of my father that we're here enjoying this today.
And Santa Anita is a mecca. Let's face it. It's not like he brought you to Balmoral Park in Chicago, Illinois, or someplace like that. Santa Anita is a spectacular place. Hard not to fall in love with racing when you walk through the admission gates.
And that's actually the magic moment for everybody. I remember Brad Free talking about in an article that he wrote one time for the Daily Racing Forum. He talks about riding his father's shoulders as he walks through the gates. And, I phoned him after that article. He didn't know who I was. I was just a young kid in Vancouver, but it resonated with me so much. And I said, Brad, that's what happened to me. Walking through the gates, holding my dad's hand, it hits you in the feels.
And our producer here, Brian Martinez, actually shared a story with us before we came on air. He came here at the ripe old age of 4 years old on his dad's shoulders and begged Bill Shoemaker for an autograph every single day he was in attendance. Unfortunately, he has no more of those autographs. But everybody has those great memories going backwards. Speaking of great memories, Jeffrey, let's take a look at one of your Breeders' Cup runners. It's amazing the success you've had at the Claim Box. We're first going to watch Bud Royale compete in the 1999 Breeders' Cup Classic. Garrett Gomez in the saddle. Hard to believe that you claimed this horse for $50,000 and gave you this thrill that we're about to watch, courtesy of the description of Tom Durkin.
It's amazing.
It sure is.
And they're off. Gets off to a good start. Old Trieste is flashing his early speed. Cat Thief is there running in mid-pack. River Keen also has some early speed as well. Supreme Sound on the far outside. The classic field moves by us for the first time. It is Cat Thief, Old Trieste, Bud Royale in between those two. Mutawakel, Supreme Sound on the outside. River Keen is running in 6th position. Golden Missile is now 7th. And it's Vision Averse to his outside 8th. And Barons is 9th and in hand in the early stages. Lemon Drop Kid is 10th and on the far outside. Ecton Park is next, followed by Long Leg General Challenge, who is maintaining position on the outside of horses through the early furlongs. Catienis is next, and Chester House is far behind. The first quarter in a sharp 23 seconds flat, and it is Old Trieste with his usual front-running gambit, the leader taking the field down the backstretch. It is Old Trieste opening up now from Cat Thief by 2.5 lengths. He's running a very ambitious race here. The half in 45 3/5 seconds. Bud Royale in close contact to the sharp pace. Mutawakel 4th toward the inside. Golden Missile is racing in 5th. Then it's River Keen who moves through on the inside of Supreme Sound, is now running in 7th. Jorge Chavez is asking Barons for his run at the half-mile pole. He is 10 lengths behind now. Vision Averse, Lemon Drop Kid, a General Challenge on the outside. Around the far turn, Cat Thief now to the neck of Old Trieste. Bud Royale, Golden Missile in with a huge upset chance on the outside. Mutawakel, Lemon Drop Kid made a big move on the turn, and he's only 5 lengths from the lead. River Keen is dropping back, and Barons is laboring, and they are at the top of the stretch here. Bud Royale fighting on Gateway. Golden Missile on the outside. Cat Thief clawing his way to the lead. Cat Thief, Golden Missile. Bud Royale up. It's Cat Thief in front. Cat Thief coming down to the line, and Cat Thief has won it by 1 length over Bud Royale. And Golden Missile
like 4 times this week when I pulled up the replay because I knew I'd show it on the seminar. And I'll tell you what, 134 and change, and Bud Royale made that move, turning for home. It still sends chills up my spine. I can only imagine what you feel like watching that replay.
Me too. Me too. Like the great Rod Tidwell said in Jerry Maguire, I'm not going to cry on your show.
But what a thrill that must have been. Claim for 50,000. You're in the Breeders' Cup Classic. The purse is ginormous.
Yep.
And you're right there in the hunt. You only get beat by D. Wayne Lucas and Pat Day.
It was really quite incredible. The whole thing is surreal. And, you know, if you ever have a chance to see the head-on that, if he doesn't get bumped so repeatedly down the lane, I really think that he could have won it. I really do. I still to this day think about this all the time, but this is racing. That's
one of 2 Breeders' Cup memories. Let's fast forward to the year 2003. It was the Breeders' Cup Sprint right here at Santa Anita. And you were in there with another $50,000 claim, a horse by the name of Blues the Standard. You're going to break from post position number 8. There's 2 horses in this replay with Pink Silks. You break from post position number 8 and make a wicked move coming down the home stretch to finish second. Winner ran in 107 and change. Again, let's listen to Tom Durkin describe the action of the 2003 Breeders' Cup Sprint.
And they're up. And Cajun Beat breaking alertly for the lead. Captain Squire right there on the outside. Ethan Mann is there. Great Notion under a hustling ride early. Midas Eyes up and close to the pace. Down toward the inside, Zavada is right there. Valid Video and Shake You Down, and it's a scramble for the lead among them. And Great Notion had to check out of there. Lose the Standard down toward the inside. Then farther back, it's Posse. Private Horde 7 lengths back to the latent power of Aldebaran. He's 15 lengths for the lead, but he's got a sizzling pace to run at. 21 seconds flat for the opening quarter. Fast and furious here in the sprint, and Shake You Down comes away with the lead. Cajun Beat right there. Now he pokes his head in front. Zavada toiling, trying to stay with those 2. Yankee Gentleman looms the thread right there on the outside. Midas Eyes is now 5th toward the rail. Captain Squire under a driving sit. Aldebaran still about 10 lengths for the lead, trying to weave his way through the field. Coming into the final furlong, and Cajun Beat emerges with the lead. Shake You Down is there, and here comes Blues the Standard up the fence. Yankee Gentleman, Aldebaran toward the inside, and Posse. They are all chasing Cajun Beat, who got him beat 1 by 2. Blues the Standard finishes second. Shake You Down.
4 years later, Jeffrey, and there you are once again, finished second in a very lucrative Breeders' Cup race, this time the sprint. Unbelievable performance closing up the rail. That again has to send chills up your spine.
Oh, every time. Interesting note about that race. If you can remember, the fires were crazy. There were smoke sort of in the air at that Breeders' Cup. And we were that particular Breeders' Cup, there was such an outside bias that day. It was unbelievable. We were the only horse to close ground on the rail that day. If you can remember, Julie Crone, fantastic Julie Crone, I love her. She rode a horse for
Richard Mandela. Sure, the 2-year-old filly.
Exactly, way on the outside. And it was unbelievable in the Breeders' Cup to give that much ground and be that wide. But there was such an advantage being on the outside that day. I think she won from post 10.
She did, from the far outside.
From the far outside.
Yep.
And so that was very indicative of the way that just happened to be the way it turned out that day. But I couldn't have been more proud of him. I really thought that he was going to run a huge race that day. Just before the race, it was funny. I was watching the workout shows, and they zoned in on Ted as he was clocking him.
Ted West, your trainer.
Yeah, Ted West Jr. And he worked just the fastest work I think I've ever seen in my life. I want to say it was in 33 flat or something like that. But the thing is that Nacho, who was his exercise rider, he was like standing up on him. And the funny thing I remember was all I remember seeing was them zoning from the work over to Ted, and all I kept seeing was Ted shaking his head like this. And then, of course, I got the phone call, and he said, "You won't believe what happened today." He said, "Don't get alarmed when you see how fast he worked." He said he did it. He couldn't have done it any easier.
We couldn't do it any easier if we didn't have Jeffrey Sangara as our seminar guest today. Jeff has 2 horses in on today's card that he owns. We're going to find out what he thinks about those runners as well as his opinion on the other 7 races. But before we do any of that, let's toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramani and get the scratches on today's Sunday's card here at Santa Anita.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the great race place. The Coast to Coast Pick 5 today has a huge carryover. No one hit it yesterday. $186,000 in the carryover. Here are the early changes on today's card. In the first, number 2, Rusty Because. The jockey is Luis Contreras. 7, Montana, make the jockey Frankie Dettori. We do have a super high 5 carryover of $8,702 from yesterday in the first. Second race starts the early pick 4. Jockey change is actually for race 3. There is no jockey change in race 2. In the third race, number 6, Prince Prancelot, make the jockey Juan Hernandez. Race 3, number 6, Prince Prancelot, the jockey Juan Hernandez. Turning to the fourth, the $3 all-turf pick 3 begins on races 4, 7, and 9. No changes. In the fifth race, scratch number 4, Santos to Wilson. Race 5, take out the 4, and there's no high 5 wagering. The fifth race does start the late pick 5. No high 5 in the fifth. Sixth race begins the late pick 4. Number 5, Vodka Vodka, make the jockey Giovanni Franco. Giovanni Franco rides 5, Vodka Vodka in the sixth. Race 7, number 4, St. Ignacio, will be ridden by Mike Smith. Race 7, number 4, Mike Smith. The 8th is the Grade 3 Santa Ynez Stakes. No show wagering with the scratch of number 4, Petite Filet. Golden Hour pick 4 starts with the Santa Ynez. And in the 9th, number 9, Ashcroft, make the jockey Kyle Frey. Enjoy your day at the Great Race Place. Best of luck with all the carryovers. We have a super high 5 carryover in the first and the Coast to Coast pick 5 with $188,000. That should be an enormous pool in the Coast to Coast pick 5, combining races from Gulfstream Park and Santa Anita Park. Be at the gate for the opener at 12 noon in 55 minutes. Let's get back to the studio. Quigley's Corner with Tom Quigley and his special guest, Jeffrey Sangara.
Welcome back. We're talking horses with prominent owner Jeffrey Sangara. It's our pleasure to have him today. We just watched his horses perform in 2 Breeders' Cup replays. He also has 2 runners on today's card, including in race number 1. So, Jeffrey, let's kick things off here in race number 1 with the popular 50-cent early pick 5. And as we also heard track announcer Frank Miramati say, there's also an $8,000 super high 5 carryover. Nobody hit it on yesterday's last race. We've got a field of 8 here going 1 mile on the main track. It's $16,000 claimers, non-winners of 2 races lifetime. Jockey on number 2, Rusty Because, is Luis Contreras. Also put Frankie Dettori on number 7, Montana. However, you own number 1, Arrest, who exits a sprint race at Los Alamitos back on December 17th near the end of their meet. It was a sprint race, and you actually were competing against a horse who was 1-5 on the tote board from the Jeff Mullins barn. Before we get your thoughts on the race, Jeff, let's go back and watch that replay back on Arrest's last performance on December 17th and listen to Michael Rona describe the action.
Racing. Duty First is away midfield. Take Charge, Curly the first to break. Tackled for the lead by Arrest. Duty First thrusting through between this pair to force a line of 3. Jimmy the Boots just off them, followed by Road of Love and All the King's Men. Then comes Stefano Bay and Carpe Bellum. 6 lengths covering the field. Arrest and Duty First are the joint leaders. From Take Charge, Curly, Road of Love along the fence, followed closely by All the King's Men and Jimmy the Boot with a half mile to go. Then Stefano Bay and 2 lengths to Carpe Bellum. Heading into the turn, it's Arrest on the inside wide narrowly from Duty First. A length and a half off to Road of Love running third, joined by All the King's Men, who's pushing forward. Jimmy the Boots in that clump of horses. Take Charge Curly wide around the bend to the 5/16. A couple of lengths to Fino Bay, and Carpe Bellum, the second wagering choice, is back at the rear very wide. Homeward bound, less than a quarter mile to go. Duty First getting on terms with the rest. They're 3 lengths in front of All the King's Men, followed by Take Charge Curly. Duty First kicks away with a good turn of foot, an eighth of a mile to go. Kicks clear of a rest, followed by All the King's Men and Take Charge Curly. Duty First has finished first in both his Los Alamitos races. Takes care of business under cruise control, 5 lengths in front of a rest, followed by Take Charge Curly.
Jeff, I don't want to give away any secrets, but if you won 22 change and 45 and change today, taking the blinkers off against this group, you might be 6 in front early, and you're 10-1 on the tote board. You got to like your chances the way this race kind of developed.
You know, it's a really good point. I don't see an abundance of speed in here, although you never know. Sometimes trainers will try to change things up.
Sure.
Tell their connections to, let's just
there's
go
no
to the
speed
front.
in the race. Let's see what we can do.
Exactly. But I do know that he has both his really good races for us when he was awarded first purse money, when he was second that day at a Big Splash. He stumbled horribly at the front at the gate, and he got up onto the lead fairly quickly. And then I was just watching that race there. It's hard to believe that he's still a non-2. I think he's a bit of a pack animal, but he has been showing speed, and I think I think in this race here, I think he's going to find himself comfortably on the lead without a lot of strain. So hopefully that's enough to get him across the wire first today.
And Jeffrey, you like most horse players, you think your main danger is the current betting choice at 2-1. That's number 4, Derecho Dandy from the Doug O'Neill barn, taking a slight drop down in class. But still, speaking of herd animals, 1 for 15 lifetime. Tough to take 2-1 on a horse like that. Yeah,
that is being around and listening to great handicappers like yourself and a lot of these sharp guys in Southern California here. I hear that theme a lot. You got to be careful of horses that just don't want to, for some reason, want to pass other horses, or they don't want to get to the front of another one. And that's always one of the strategies I use. That's how we claim Blues the Standard, really, is that how can you go wrong with when you're claiming a horse that like to win races? And if you can fix things along the way, well, hey, then that's great. You never know what you're going to get. But the most important thing is that these beautiful animals have to want to win.
1 and 4 in race number 1 for Jeffrey Sangara, our seminar guest. Let's turn the page, Jeff. Take a look at race number 2. Begins the popular 50-cent early pick 4. This time we're on the turf course. 1 mile's the distance for fillies and mares, allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of one other than. The rails today are at 20 feet. We've got a field of 6. Number 2, Havana Angel from the Leonard Powell barn is the 2-1 morning line choice. You don't own a horse in here, but I know you looked at the race. Who do you like and why?
I think Leo's horse is sitting on a really big race here. Maybe the addition of Lasix today, if you kind of look back, when he had Lasix on 2 back, if he runs that race back, I think it's really over. If he can get a lead like that, I think our turf course has been a little bit kind to forwardly placed horses.
Very much so.
And the race below, when he had Lasix, they experimented that day and they put blinkers on it. That didn't seem to be something this beautiful filly enjoyed very much. So if this filly can run back to that race 2 back, I think this is over.
And you also give a little love to number 6, Queen's Command, who's the invader from Ireland for trainer Phil D'Amato, first time Lasix Flavian in the saddle. What did you like about her form?
Well, obviously the connections. Phil loves to win races on turf. He certainly gets a lot of them. Flavian, he's just a fantastic jock. This horse has been working very, very well. First time Lasix. There's that second race over there in Ireland kind of stood out to me. This filly doesn't seem to want to be too far out of it. So that running style could be very useful today. So I think that the 6 horse is, if the 2 horse should have any any issues in this race, I think that 6 horse is going to be right there.
Number 6, Queen's Command. If you have the racing form in front of you, you can see the race that Jeff is referencing back in September of 2022. She beat a field of 17 that particular day at odds of 10-1. If she could duplicate that effort, as Jeff mentioned, she could be tough to beat. Let's take a look at race number 3. We're sprinting 6 furlongs on the main track for allowance optional claiming types, 3-year-old Cowbreds. We've got a field of 6. The jockey on number 6, Prince Prancelot, is Juan Hernandez. Also take note, number 1, Fact or Fiction, is a first-time gelding. Morning line favorite is the aforementioned Prince Prancelot from Paula Capestro's barn. Talk to us about race 3, Jeff.
So in this race here, Carla Gaines' horse looks to be very, very strong. I know this filly's only had, this colt has only had 1 race, but he showed a lot of maturity in that race. Got bumped around at the start and still just did what he had to do. It was impressive to me. I really liked that race, and Carla really knows what she's doing, and I think that this horse looks very, very strong today. The 6 horse in this race also, the blinkers seem to have really helped this horse, and anytime you can win a maiden over at Los Al or here by 4 lengths, that's impressive. So I wouldn't, if you throw the first race on the turf with the 6 horse, this guy ran very, very fast over there. So I think that horse has got a big shot as well. So I love the 3, but the 6 is also a very strong contender in this race.
Jeff, the seminar is about 20 minutes old, and already you've talked about a lot of trouble with horses either at the break or maybe coming down the lane. As part of your claiming arsenal, do you watch a lot of race replays? And if you do, share with us some things you might look for that maybe most handicappers don't look for when you're watching a race replay. So
it's true. As begrudgingly, my wife has come to accept, there is a relationship with my wife and the race replays that are on TV.
Computer, right.
Exactly. And I'm on them all the time. When we're looking at claiming horses, I'll spend 3 to 4 hours going through all the replays, not just of the horse we're looking at claiming, but the horses that have been running against that particular horse. Replays are critically important. I've always been a trip handicapper. I've always found that horses that have gotten into trouble or have shown something and then suddenly get a little bit kind of forgotten about in conversations, they're telling you a lot in those situations. So the video support is really critical, both in claiming horses and also in handicapping.
And handicappers tend to stress the last performance, but you make a good case. Sometimes the blinkers go on and the horse doesn't like blinkers. Sometimes it's not on Lasix. You have to be able to excuse some performances in order to find that nugget in the rough.
Exactly. That's, thank goodness we're not dealing with robots. These are beautiful, magnificent animals, and they can have rough days. And most of the time they're going to give you everything they've got. But a lot of the times it's not up to them how the result ends up. So you kind of have to delve into it and really look at the meat of their story, and things will start to pop off. And maybe the conditions of that day are similar to when this particular horse had a really good day. You really have to take that into consideration: track bias, track variant, weather, equipment, surface, distance, all those kind of things. You need to kind of put them all together and formulate something out of that.
It's like coming up with a recipe and putting it on the stove and having a nice meal come out at the end of all of that, how it works.
Exactly.
Race number 4 begins the $1 pick 6 sequence and also the $3 all turf pick 3. That's on the last 3 races here at San Anita that are on the turf courts. It's a new wager with a higher minimum. What about the pick 6 payout yesterday? It only, quote unquote, paid $1,400, but that was with 2 heavy favorites. Both Safa from the Gary Studi barn won the opener yesterday, and then we had Muth, of course, win the stakes race. Even with those 2 heavy odds on favorites, the $1 pick 6 paid $1,400. Hard to find any wagers around where you can get $1,400 to 1, but we kick things off today anew in race 4, going 1 mile on the turf course for allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of 2 other than. We've got a field of 6, and there is a first-time gelding. That's the one owned by our seminar guest, Jeffrey Sangara. Number 4, Midnight Mammoth, trained by Craig DeLassy, who is your house trainer. Talk to us first about why you decided to geld Midnight Mammoth.
We've just been scratching our heads with this guy. He first off the claim for us. We were all just
went right to the winner's circle.
Went right to the winner's circle. And a big day. It was a fantastic day. And I thought he ran a big race against what I thought was one of the top 3 older horses last year defunded.
Yep.
But, you know, he ran, we just didn't do the right thing. And we ran him in the Triple Bend, and he hated it. And I don't know whether or not that kind of broke his mental mojo, but he just has not been the same since then. And we decided to geld him. You know, hopefully that can find the path again for him. But yeah, it's been a disappointing few races.
Well, one thing we can see on paper, Jeffrey, is since you gelded him, all he's done is 3 bullet workouts in the morning, including the most recent one on January 1st that we're looking at here, courtesy of our friends at xbtv.com. That's actually your jockey today in the saddle, Victor Espinoza. There were 46 workers this day going 5 furlongs. You're the bullet workout, and it's not exactly like Victor's getting after him. I mean, he's kind of got him in hand.
Yeah, he sure does look good there, doesn't he? He's a striking horse. And,
son of Midnight Loot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, you thought you were making a good claim, and he hasn't been the worst claim in the world. Like you said, you won non-winners of 2 condition, which is why you're in for the tag today. But, you know, you've tried different things, setting him up north on the synthetic, trying to sprint him over across town at Los Alamitos during the nighttime. But hopefully today, particularly off of this workout, that he'll probably maybe revert back to that performance first off the claim last March.
We're really hoping so. We're hoping that the gelding had helped him. He really needed to have a break after that Pleasanton race. I really think that I'm going to wear that one. The Triple Bend was a bad call for us. And shipping up north to Pleasanton, he came out of that race pretty banged up, and we needed to give him time. I think the cool weather today is going to help him. And hopefully, you know, we turn the tables here. We're going to give it everything we've got. That's for sure.
And in race 4, you say, let's try and beat the chalk, because your second selection, as we look on the graphic on the screen, is number 3, Castle Leac. Tell us why you like this runner from the George Papadromo barn.
Yeah, he's a nice horse. Beautiful looking horse. What I like about this horse here is that there is so much speed signed up for this race. I think the rail horse, he's been working very, very well. That race sticks out in my mind a couple of years ago down at Del Mar when he went 21-4, 44, 8-3, and finished up there in 33-1, which I don't know how far that is off the track record, but it couldn't be very much. I think with him in the field on the rail, I think that there's going to be a lot of speed. And this horse here, you know, he's sort of an in and out, or he runs a big number, and he kind of tends to react to that. He's done that twice now in recency. He ran the big race at Del Mar on the 19th of August of this past year against a very nice horse. Then he came back, and it looks like he kind of reacted in his next race out. Then he came back and ran another huge race. I think it was his lifetime best number.
It was.
And then he reacted again from that. So I think that horse there, and of course Rosario, that's a fantastic pilot. I think he's got a shot to actually be there right there at a price today.
4 and 3 in race number 4. So says our seminar guest, Jeffrey Sangara. Let's take a look at race number 5. Begins the 50-cent late pick 5 sequence. We're back sprinting on the main track. 6 furlongs in the distance. Allowance optional claiming types. Non-winners of 1 other than. 1 scratch. Scratch the 4. Santos to Wilson leaves us with a field of 6. Morning line favorite. 1 of 2 in the field, trained by trainer Bob Baffert, is number 2, Elwood Blues. 9-5 on the morning line, according to our morning line odds maker, John White. How'd you see this race, Jeffrey?
I agree with Mr. White, Northwest boy.
Yes, well. He is, yes. From Spokane and Playfair and that whole neck of the woods.
That's right. And a wealth of knowledge about the Longacres
Walking encyclopedia is what I call him.
He absolutely is. Yeah. Never a dull moment with John.
If there's a trivia question about Longacres in some bar I'm at, I want him next to me.
Exactly. And he may even pull out a program and show you.
I think he will. He's got a library full of those.
Oh, he does. He does. But in this race here, I really think Mike Peagram's horse is sort of a standout. He looks really, 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 really tough in this race.
Jeffrey, let me ask you a question about Elwood Blues, sired by Justify, who obviously has gotten off to a great start as a young stallion. When you're looking at claims, most of your runners have had a racing experience. Do you factor in the pedigree at all, or is that kind of just a moot point after they've had so many starts?
No, we do. more in the sense that if we see something like, there was a horse we had called Beautiful Balance, fantastic horse. I loved him. And we did something sort of uncharacteristic of us, and we claimed him out of a maiden race, which particularly back in that time was something we would never do. But his pedigree strongly suggested that the turf might be real beneficial for this guy. And he was running on the dirt. So we thought we would take him and try him on the turf. And as it turns out, he relished it. So we do kind of look for that breeding when it comes to angles of where maybe we could maybe find a better opportunity that would suit that horse better. So we do look at that. And breeding is always important. It always is.
Race number 6 begins the 50-cent late pick 4, again sprinting on the main track, 6 furlongs in the distance. Calbred 3-year-old maiden special weights. Take note, every single runner in the field is a first-time Lasix user. Also take note, number 1, Dance Man, is a first-time gelding. Also make the jockey number 5, Vodka. Giovanni Franco, the morning lane favorite, is number 6, Shady Tiger. The second-time starter, I believe, from the Phil D'Amato barn. 5-2, ridden by Juan Hernandez, as I mentioned. First-time Lasix, son of Smiling Tiger. Kind of looks like all systems go here, but you're the guest. What say you?
I would fully agree with that, Tom. I think he's sitting perfectly drawn for this race. There might be some pace to the inside of him there with 3 and 4. He had I thought, a very impressive debut on the turf. They're running him on dirt this time, but certainly don't think that's not in this card through his breeding. He's working very, very well. The one horse, though, that is an X factor here that could actually potentially run a big race today, though, I think, is Final Storm from the Dean Peterson barn. I'm a big Dean Peterson fan. I think he does a fantastic job with his horses. He had limited starts, but he is very, very capable trainer. And that horse there, if anything, a toe should be stubbed, as they say. I think he'll be very strong, a strong contender.
We've got a full field of 9 in race number 7. We're back on the turf course, 1 mile of the distance. Starter optional claiming types. To make the jockey on number 4, St. Ignacio, Mike Smith, the morning line favorite, drawn right inside. Number 3, Mega Moon, who's kind of just been stalling out with mid-70 bars. If there is a vulnerable favorite, this might be the one that I'm going to try and beat on today's multi-race exotic wagers. That's just my opinion. What's your opinion in race 7, Jeff?
I fully agree with you, Tom. The way I looked at this race, and the way that I believe that the turf is kind of playing today, I really like Carla's horse, the number 7 Sengara. A very, very hot rider on that horse. I think he does a great job on the front end. If there should be some out of nowhere speed that comes in, I think he'll probably know what to do with that. But I think he could be the potential for a lone F here. So that's who I like here. I love Sangara in this race.
And Carla Gaines, as you mentioned earlier, certainly a more than capable horsewoman, and she's got a couple of live runners on today's card, that's for sure. Race number 8 is our feature race on the card. It's the Grade 3 San Ynez Stakes for 3-year-old fillies, sprinting 7 furlongs on the main track. It also begins the $1 Golden Hour Pick 4 sequence, linking our last 2 races here with the last 2 races up north at Golden Gate. We've got just a field of 4 after the scratch of number 4, Petite Filet. The morning line favorite in the current betting, the likely odds-on favorite, is going to be number 1, Copian from the Richard Mandela barn. Very impressive on debut down at Delmar. Not much meat on the bone here. Play the favorite or look elsewhere?
Well, how do you beat this filly? what must it be like to walk down that shed row of Richard Mandela shed row every day?
Superstar after superstar, right?
It's just, it really is remarkable.
And what a horseman he is. He's in the Hall of Fame for a reason.
He really is. He is a fantastic horseman, and he really, and also his horses that go on into breeding afterwards. I always have such confidence in, like, Omaha Beach, for example. I think he
trained Omaha Beach. He trained into Mischief.
Yeah.
I mean, the stallion roster he has, forget about what's in his shed row, but what's in Kentucky is amazing.
It's unbelievable, and a testament to him. Fantastic trainer. He sits a couple of boxes down from us, and it's always good to see him. And I don't know how his horse gets beat in this race. I really don't. I mean, the rail is obviously not ideal. If anything should go amiss, I think Peter Urton. I mean, all you have to do is just say Peter Urton now, and his horse will drop down in odds a bunch. Boy, what a time he's having. And his horse, Tambo, is a potential upsetter. If anything should happen, or she's having a bad day, the one Copian, or for whatever reason, I think Tambo is there. It could be forwardly placed in that. It might she may even have a lone F in this race, but that the one does look pretty outstanding in this race.
Close out the day and close out the week in race number 9. Keep in mind, live racing resumes this coming Friday. We've got 9 races carded for you this Friday. Also take note, post time will revert back a half hour going forward to 12:30. So post time starting this coming Friday going forward, 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. But first things first, race 9 offers $5 golden hour daily double wagering, and we're going 1 mile on the turf course. For maiden special weights, a full field of 10. Take note, numbers 2, 5, and 7 are all first-time geldings. Also the jockey in number 9, Ashcroft, is Kyle Frey. Kent DeSormo off all mounts today. Morning line favorite, lukewarm morning line favorite, is number 8, Cantaro Dioro, who's 7-2 on the morning line. He and 4 other runners in this field actually exit a common race. That race was back at Del Mar on November 26th. So we're going to have a lot of runners in this particular race, race number 9, coming out of that race. So rather than talk about it, let's watch the replay and listen to John Lees describe the action back at Del Mar on November 26th.
All set.
All right.
They're off. Ghost Coast, Captain Coochie's, Player B, Caribbean King, trying to get in from the outside. That's Surf Affair getting up to get a position. And down inside, Kentaro Doro tucks in 2 lengths off the leaders. Right there is Ashcroft to Sea of Cortez, Ghost Coast from the far outside in a bunch field. The trailer is Star Force, 8 lengths off the leaders. The run for the clubhouse turn, and Juan Hernandez going for a high 5 today. He's on the lead with Caribbean King, allowed to set the pace at the 7/8 pole, leads it to Player B by 3 parts of a length. From the far outside, Ghost Coast is now ranging up closer. Grand Saving Trip for Surf Affair. Captain Coochie is now racing in 5th. Kentaro Doro hugs the inside in 6th and 5 lengths off the leader. Ashcroft is now racing 7th. 2.5 back to One of These Days on the inside of Sea of Cortez, and the trailer is still Star Force, 8 lengths off the leader. They've got 4.5 furlongs left to travel. On the lead is Caribbean King, trying to slow things down even more. It's been a sensible tempo, just a length in front. Player B is in 2nd. Then it's Surf Affair on the inside of Ghost Coast. Captain Coochie's improves a bit there between horses, 2 lengths off the lead, taking 4th. Then Kentaro Doro tucked in on the inside, 6th. Then it's back to Ashcroft. One of These Days and Sea of Cortez. Star Force has trailed every step. And they pick up the pace now as Player B comes to take on Caribbean King. It's these 2 on the lead here at the quarter pole. Captain Coochie's Surf Affair needs room. He's tucked in. A wide journey for Ghost Coast, and they bunch up now off of the turn as they straighten away. And Player B threatens to take the lead. Captain Coochie's Surf Affair's got room. Coming on late, Kentaro Doro, and One of These Days is also searching for room. It's a desperate finish. One of These Days, one from the inside. One of These Days is coming with Kentaro Doro. It's close. One of These Days and Kentaro Doro in a wild.
Jeffrey, that race was at 1 mile and a 16th. Today's distance is 1 mile. That might factor into who you like. Also, there were 4 horses blanked on the wire. Captain Coochie's, who was one of those 4, is actually a half to American Theorem, who was also trained by George Papapadromo. And we saw a late surge by Cantaro Dioro and just got nipped on the wire by a Phil D'Amato Little Red Feather horse who wound up winning the race. This is a really good race to close out the card. Who do you like and why?
This is a very tough race, a very, very tough race. I like both Phil's horses in here. I think Sea of Cortez is sitting on it was pretty rank in there in that last race, but he runs back to that race 2 back. Very, very tough. I will say that City Exile has been working fantastically, and it says this horse is prominent in its last race there over Europe. So if it's forwardly placed, he's going to have a good shot too. But long shot, Ron Ellis's horse, he could be an upset special in this race on the outside, just as a shot in the dark.
4-3-10 to wrap up a great card here at St. Anita. Jeffrey, before I say goodbye to you, I just want to remind all of our viewers that keep in mind the Coast to Coast Pick 5 is in play today, linking races from both Santa Anita and Gulfstream Park. The first leg of this is Gulfstream Park Race 9, which I believe goes off shortly after 1 o'clock Pacific time. Make sure you get involved because the total pool will easily be in excess of $1 million. Jeffrey, thanks so much for your time and insight. Not only good luck today with your 2 runners, but good luck going forward. You've had tremendous success at the claim box. I want to wish you and your beautiful family nothing but success going forward.
Thank you so much, Tom. It's been an honor and a privilege. Really appreciate everything.
It's been our pleasure to have you here, Jeffrey. And thanks to all of you for watching as well. You're the reason why we do it. Next voice you hear be track announcer Frank Maramati updating us with any late program changes. Have fun, everybody, today, and good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem. Morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the great race place. The track is fast, the turf is firm, the rail on the turf is at 20 feet. We'll get to the changes in a moment, but first things first, we have the Coast to Coast Pick 5, which started yesterday. It's offered on Saturdays and Sundays, combining races from Gulfstream Park and Santa Anita Park. Nobody picked all 5 yesterday. It starts today with the 9th at Gulfstream Park. There's a $188,000 carryover. Keep in mind they are off the turf at Gulfstream, and therefore turf races have been transferred to the all-weather, which is race 10 over at Gulfstream Park. The sequence begins with the 9th at Gulfstream, and the 4th here at Santa Anita Park, followed by Gulfstream's 10th, Santa Anita's 5th and 7th. Low 15% takeout, $1 minimum. This wager is offered every Saturday and Sunday with a huge $186,000 carryover today, 104 Pacific for the first leg.